Okay, remember they're changing my voice. This is part 3. Okay. So my next point is point number 10. The mockers are often similar looking because sex cults dominate the breeding cycles, and therefore they permanently ruin the breeding cycles. It's like poison in milk. They might not put poison in all the milk in a glass, but just putting it in a section of it will cause it to spread throughout it enough eventually to where all the milk isn't good. And in this case, there's no way to kind of purify the milk, so they've ruined it by doing what they're doing. So mockers themselves, their very look is like the statues. The word statue and state. The state of mind, the state of California, the state, the country called a state, and the state of being, and so on and so forth. They're connected. So they look like the pagan statues because they're from the patriarchal lines and cultures of the pagans who went around the world raping and killing people and insisting that their patriarchal lines seem superior. That is exactly how you become the most inferior. There's no other way to look at it. Think about it. Evil is not a way to prosper. Cheaters never prosper, and those who sink to the level of being the most evil and do the most despicable forms of cheating, lying about God, lying about martial arts, coercing women, rape by deception, rape by force, these people who do these things are the lowest forms of life. And when they make it their behind the scenes culture, them and their offspring are spiritually conquered, finished. They failed to overcome. They failed to be humble enough to obey the one God actually set apart. And that's another form of provoking the righteous, by ruining God's work. The reason I came to the earth was not to forgive anybody. It was to give them one last chance before people are thrown into the burning lake of sulfur, chaos, and desolation. And we already see the signs. When you look at people carefully, you see the signs in their character of how much they're spiritually suffering, how much their immorality has caused their souls to rot. Think about it. You'd have to be blind not to see it. And the more they're part of a culture that tries hard to look good, the more obvious it should be. They're drawing your attention. Why are they allowed to look good, so to speak? Flesh-based good. It's like it says in Matthew 23. First clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside will be clean. Point number 11. This is one of the main points. As soon as you hear this point, you know I'm right to be angry. You know that righteous indignation is a good thing. You know that moral outrage is a good thing. People fume and poison and harass me and try to make it hard for me to explain. They often try to make it so I seem wrong for speaking on it. How could I be wrong for exposing these things? You think that everyone should go through what I'm going through? You think that every time someone does the right thing, that they should go through what I go through, so the despicable and toxic propaganda of the state can dominate the minds and hearts of people until they are utterly callous, until they have insensitive hearts, until their hearts are dark and black and twisted and contorted and utterly disgusting? What do you think happens when people are in the repetition of a generational immorality? They become pure evil slime, toxic slime, poisonous slime, privileged trash, just assorted, arrogant, pompous fools, just out of touch, way out of touch. Just ditzy, unfocused, foolish, and contemptible, utterly rebellious, rapacious wolves without a speck of true compassion. Because either it is true compassion in the divine order derived from morally precise justice, true justice, morally precise righteousness, true righteousness, or it is just lip service garbage being propounded by toxic cowards who are utterly shallow and out of touch. Point number 12. Look at rock and roll concerts. There are tons of sexually immoral females, prostitutes, strippers, gold diggers, corporate workforce types. Why on earth do they need to edit my pics and voice and keep me from making my romantic pitch to the women of God effectively? Why would they need to do that? There's whores as far as the eye can see. Las Vegas, Sin City. Los Angeles, like Lost Angels. Baltimore, Murdermore. Okay, all these horrible places full of gold diggers. It's in every major city, every town, every frickin' village, so to speak. So why on earth would they need to sabotage me? What kind of monsters would sabotage me to try to gain more of a kind of romantic edge. Maybe not, because they're not romantic. I am more of a kind of, we'll call it a sexual edge, a more of a dating edge, an edge in regards to dating. What kind of monsters would try to go further for that and try to cheat the most righteous person ever? Yeah, I'm different from everyone else. So you're doing all this to prevent one guy who's way different from everyone else so they can't benefit from it, in terms of, unfairly? You're going way out of your way to prevent me from making my romantic pitch and from saving the world with moral precision. That is pathetic. That is pure evil. That is the essence of rape by deception. When you suppress the righteous so you can get all the attractive women, that is fucking rape by deception through and through. That is the foundation of it. That is Satanism in its heart, in its core, in its center. Truly, this is unforgivable. And when we talk about mockers provoking, right? They're mocking God, right? With their sexually provocative dress, right? It's provocative. It's sexually suggestible, right? Excuse me, sexually suggestive, okay? They're suggesting this, that, and the other thing. Actions speak louder than words. They call it a strip tease, right? Who are they teasing? In fact, Set, who is the main candidate for Satan, his Greek counterpart is Zeus. His name spelled backwards is tease. Utterly despicable, contemptible. All right. So these unprincipled people proceed to provoke. And if I show even the hint of moral outrage and don't masterfully watch every syllable, every word, then they say, hey, you violated the rules on the internet, right? Because it's called the internet. It's enter the net. It's a trap. Set the stage. Set. Settlers. Set up. Okay. Point number 13. People often argue that homosexuality is a sin. There's a gay agenda. Liberals are retarded. Conservatives are racist, etc. So people argue these things all the time. It's understood that every major culture is highly flawed, to say the least. To be diplomatic, I should put it in a way that's much more harsh. But yet, they're provoking me and suppressing my message. I'm here at the park, okay? Because they're suppressing my messages. And that leaves me open to complaints. People say, oh, we don't want you to make this video at the park. It's a public park. Do you own the park? Do I say I don't want you to fucking be a Satanist at the park? No, I'm not saying that. So why would you complain about me doing God's work at the park? I mean, it's a no-brainer. But this sets the stage for what we know would happen. A bunch of overly aggressive, megalomaniac control freaks to say, hey, I live around here and I right, stupid. Anyway, point number 14. I am on a divine mission that is logical, And people keep me from talking to people in person due to cultural barriers, fumes, and subtle police threats. That's called government terrorism. They're keeping me from expanding my audience, and my audience is basically all, government agents or something, because you can tell by how few of them there are and how many years I've been making this video and the exact patterns I see with my view counts. Okay, so they're keeping me from getting an audience that isn't a bunch of government puppets, right? Assets of the state, agents of the oppressor. Okay, and they're doing it by using cultural barriers, various forms of racism and emphasizing cultural barriers, fumes, psychology, okay, and subtle police threats. They say we are in bed with the police and we will fucking twist everything if we have to. All right, it's ridiculous. Point number 15, my phone is hacked and I often have to pull over on the side of the road to get service. And if I use the network in my house, they hack it. And other people have to use the network for business reasons, etc. So I never use it. And you can imagine that would frustrate you. That would frustrate the kids. That would frustrate a fucking Buddhist, when he's thinking about it while he's meditating. I mean, it would piss anyone off, including me, the most disciplined of all, the most self-controlled, the top martial artist ever possible.